All right, everyone, last video. So this video is going to be focusing on our review for our chapter test, which will be Thursday. And I've kind of organized this into sections. The first one are going to be linear, so we're going to be isolating the variable. The next section we will be solving by factoring, so we'll need to make our x. And then the next section is we're going to solve by using the quadratic formula. And then the final section I'm going to leave completely up to you, trying to figure out which best method. So we've had a couple warm-ups where I've given you 3 problems. It's like that, except now you have 6. So in 2 of them you're going to isolate, like on the first 4. On the other 2 you're going to factor, like 5 through 8. And then the last, and then you're going to have 2 more where you're going to use the quadratic formula. So I'm going to leave it up to you to see if you can figure that out. There will be an answer key with the substitute, and there will also be an answer key posted online so you can check your work. Not copy, but check. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm not going to be doing all the problems, but I'll definitely hit a good amount of them. So our goal on 1 through 4 is to isolate x, and our goal is to get all the problems to look like number 1. So let's take a look at number 3, for instance, and start solving. So first thing I'm going to do is distribute, because I don't want those parentheses there. I'm going to get negative 6x plus 2. And now what I'd like to do to get this to look like number 1 is not have the x be on both sides of the equal sign or of that wall. So I'm going to pick one of them and move it. And it really doesn't matter which one you move, but moving the negative 6x, the smaller one, is probably the easier choice. So I'm going to add 6x, and then I'm going to come over here and add 6x. And once I do that, the 2 drops down, and now I have negative 12 plus 7x. And now I can go about getting x alone. So just a quick note, if this is not enough room for you, please get a different piece of paper out. So the first thing I'm going to do is, and I am not going to be using the space, so I'm going to rewrite it over here. Again, there isn't that much room. I'm going to, in order to get x alone, I'm going to add 12 first, so that cancels out here, add 12 here, and now that leaves me with 14 and 7x. And now to get x alone, I'm going to divide by 7. And when I'm done, the answer to number 3 is 2. So the idea on number 4 is, again, just kind of that first step. Distribute your negative 4. And then on number 2, the first step I do here is combine these like terms. Get them down to one term. So that's kind of 1 through 4. Our next section, we're going to be factoring. So I'm going to pick one problem and factor for you, but I'm going to factor in both methods. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick number 6. Regardless of which method you're going to use, you will need the x. And remember, you multiply these for the top part, and then this goes in the bottom. And the factors of 6 that are going, or negative 6 that are going to make a positive 5 are actually going to be 1 and 6, and the 1 will be negative. So if you're sticking with the old method, that's what I'll do on the right side. You have to remember that all of these neighbors are going to meet in these parentheses to make 3a squared minus 5a minus 2. So when these first terms meet, they will have to make 3a squared. So I'm going to put 3a in one and a in the other. So 3a and a make that a squared. If you'd like to put the 1 there, then the a and the a make a squared, and the 3 and the 1 make the 3 of 3a squared. So I'll leave the 1 in there for now. And then we make our face, and the face is to make these numbers. And remember, 1 can make any number that I circled in the x, but 3 can only make the 6a. So what I'm going to do is take my 3, and 3 times what makes the 6, and that's a positive 2. And then I'll have the smile be 1 times what makes this negative 1, and that would be a negative 1. Now, if you like the other way, or this new way, then what you can do is you take your 3a squared, let me do a little erasing here, and you just drop 3a and 3a in there. And then you take your side numbers here, just the numbers, and drop them in. And now you have to put your thinking caps on and ask yourself, all right, is there a number when I look at my first parentheses that goes into both the 3 and the 1? And there's not, so I'll leave that alone. But then when I look at my next set of parentheses, I notice I can divide both of these by a 3. And when I do that, 3 divided by 3 is the 1, or 1a, and 6 divided by 3 is the 2. So either way, I'm going to get the same parentheses but a different method. Now remember, we are solving, so that means we do have to set each parentheses equal to 0, and now isolate x. So in my first set, I'm going to add 1. That's going to give me with 3a equals 1, and then I'm going to divide by 3, and my first answer is 1/3. And then in the other one, I'm going to subtract the 2. And then if you left the 1 there, then I would divide by 1, and my a is going to be -2. So that is how you get through 5 through 8. We've done a lot of factoring, and again, the substitute, Mr. Magel, will have an answer key, and you can always check with him to see how it went. All right, quadratic formula. So we do need the quadratic formula to do the next 4, so here it is. It should still be on that back wall. And I'll just pick, for instance, number 11. So A is going to be my 3, B is going to be -3, and C will be -4, and now I'm ready to start. So it's going to go x equals, and I'm going to take the opposite of the B, so I'm going to write down a +3, and then plus or minus, and I'm going to make my big square root, and I'm going to take -3 and square it. Then -4 with my a, which is 3, and my c, which is -4, and then all of that's going to be divided by 2a. So remember, if you need more room, get another piece of paper, because I'm just going to go into the space below it. So where we want to focus now is, whoops, and I shouldn't have put the a there. I should have put 2 times a. So now what I want to do is get my check mark to one number and my denominator to one number. So that's where I'm actually going to start, because 2 times 3 is 6. Now in the check mark, where I'm going to go is with the multiplication, or my exponent first, so -3 squared is a 9. And then I'll do my multiplying. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times -4 is -48. If you need a calculator, grab one. And now this 9 subtracting -48, envision my arms coming together and making the plus sign. It actually becomes 9 plus 48. And when I do that, I get 57. And this is great. I would like for you to practice with the calculator. So if I can get that to pop up here. Just remember to get this to a decimal, because that's a good number to have. Let's get that back up. You do your numerator first. So 3 plus, and I do the square root of 57. I hit enter, and then I'll take that decimal, leave it as it is, and divide it by 6. And there's one of my decimal answers. Whoops, it keeps disappearing. 1.758. And then I'll do it again, but this time I'll do 3 and subtract the square root of 57. Oh, that's not what I want. Hit enter and then divide by 6, and I'll get my other decimal, so a -0.758. So go for those decimals as well. That's always great practice. All right, with that, your job is now, once you get through those, is try these. So again, remember, these are the quadratic formula. These you're going to factor, and these you're going to just isolate x. So the actual answer key for this will be posted on that week 6. That is the only answer for what you're doing today that's going to be posted. If you want to check out any of the other ones, the distance formula, Pythagorean theorem, the midpoint, then Mr. Magel has a copy of that, and you can just check with him. That's it. I don't know if I'm going to see you Thursday or not. Most likely, I'm going to guess the answer is no. So bring your computers back, and that's it. Have a great day.